Regular meetings are held on the first and third Tuesday of each month in the council chambers at City Hall. Madam City Clerk, roll call, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Jennings?
Here.
Councilmember Rains?
Here.
Councilmember Sharma?
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Genoway?
Present.
And Mayor Minigar.
Present.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you. At this juncture, I would like to ask Mayor Pro Tem Elaine Genoway to provide the invocation, please, followed by Councilmember Sandy Rains to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mayor. Let us set the tone and spirit for tonight's meeting. Lord, we come before you this evening with humble and sincere hearts, as together we ask for your grace to guide our decision-making. We know that all true wisdom comes from you and are grateful for your willingness to lead us. Show us the direction you would have us take. Give us the clarity of minds and of hearts as we do the work for the people of our city. Bring a sense of peace and quiet to each of us so we can listen to your voice. We thank you for the task with which you have entrusted us and ask you bless our efforts to follow your call. Help us to stay true to the vision of those who have begun your good work as together we move towards the future. Many are the voices and options that compete for our attention. Keep us focused as together we strive to do your will and serve those who you have called us to serve. We ask this in your name. Amen.
As we renew our pledge to the best country on earth.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, ladies. Okay, our presentation this evening is a proclamation declaring May 21st as Older Americans Month. I would like to ask Mayor Pro Tem Elaine Genoway to hold the proclamation for the presentation while I read the content of the presentation. Whereas the city of Laguna Niguel includes a growing number of older Americans who enrich our community through diverse life experiences, and whereas the city of Laguna Niguel is committed to strengthening our community by connecting and supporting older adults, their families, and caregivers, and acknowledging their many valuable contributions to society. And whereas the city of Laguna Niguel recognizes the importance of bringing together all generations and engaging in activities that promote physical, mental, and emotional well-being for the benefit of all, and whereas the city of Laguna Niguel can enrich the lives of older Americans in our community by promoting home and community-based services that support independent living and involving older adults in community events and other activities, and providing opportunities for older adults to work, volunteer, learn, lead, and mentor. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Fred Minigar, on behalf of the Laguna Niguel City Council, do hereby declare May 20,
21.
I guess, let's call it May 2021, to be the Older Americans Month. We urge every resident to take time during this month to recognize older adults and the people who serve them as essential and valuable members of our community. This proclamation will be mailed to Ms. Robin Trexler on behalf of AgeWell Senior Services. At this juncture, I would like to ask my City Council colleagues if they have any comments regarding this proclamation. Mayor, Councilmember Kelly Jennings.
Yes, I love that we're doing the proclamation because a lot of our seniors kind of get forgotten, and loneliness is one of the number one deaths for seniors. So caring for our community is caring for our seniors as well. So thank you very much for this proclamation.
Thank you. Councilmember Sandy Rains.
Thank you, Mayor Minigar. It's a privilege to be able to honor some of the most important residents of our community. We celebrate them with our Sea Country Center, looking forward to opening in August. I know that they will be excited to be back together with friendly faces again. And it's just one of those things that here in Laguna Niguel that we value. We value all of our residents and the seniors who have worked hard and provided us with the amenities and things that we have today. We want to recognize and honor you too. Thank you.
Councilmember Rishi Sharma.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I often tell the story of my grandmother. She was one of the most precious people to me in my life, gave me good guidance, and connected my present existence with the past, showing our family history. And a lot of our seniors are a gem to our community, connecting us to our history as a community. And it's my pleasure to be part of this as well, too. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but certainly not least, Mayor Pro Tem Elaine Genoway for any comments.
Thank you, Mayor Minigar, and thank you to you and Laguna Niguel for joining many other cities throughout Orange County who are recognizing May as Older Americans Month. By 2030, which is only 9 years from now, it is projected that the senior population of 65 years and older will be 25% of the state's population. So it's significant that we recognize this, make sure our communities are prepared to have multi-generational communities. So our seniors can age in place and be interacting with younger generations, because seniors have a lot of experience to share, and they share that willingly and with joy. So we are looking forward to preparing communities throughout the state and here in Laguna Niguel for multi-generational living, so all generations have an excellent quality of life. So thank you, Mayor, and thank you to the City Council.
Thank you very much. That concludes our presentations. So we will now move on to public communications. Madam City Clerk, do we have any requests to speak forms?
No, ma'am.
Very good. Since there is no public communications, then let's move on to consent calendar. Items 1 through 6. Let me ask my colleagues, would you like to pull any of the items?
I would like to pull item 6, please.
Item 6 by Councilmember Kelly Jennings.
Number 4, please.
Number 4 by Councilmember Sharma. Number 4 by Mayor Pro Tem Genoway. Do I have a motion for the balance of the items?
So moved.
I'll make a second.
Okay, it was moved by Mayor Pro Tem Elaine Genoway and seconded by Councilmember Sandy Rains. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It passes unanimously. Now we are moving to item number 4. It was initiated by Councilmember Sharma.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to preface my commentary relative to number 4 by pointing out the city's investment policy. Specifically, our responsibility as a city is to manage our finances in a manner that protects the maximum principal of the dollars that we have, and is in a manner that's consistent with market returns and also gives us flexibility to meet our cash flow needs within the city. Over the course of the last several months, a couple of points have been brought up relative to last year. Specifically, we had sales tax revenue that exceeded our expectations to the tune of about $1.2 million. I think while that certainly feeds to a positive bottom line, I noticed on page 2 of our report here, the other side of this seesaw, which I think we need to take into consideration when we're making financial decisions in our community. Specifically, the average weighted yield of our portfolio right now is trending just over 0.5%, more specifically 0.514%. I went back to 2 fiscal periods prior to this, and if you were to look at the average weighted portfolio yield, we were trending just over 2.21% at that point in time. The offset of that percentage is about 77% decrease in total projected returns for our city in our pooled assets. And if you equivocate that to a dollar value, it's just south of $900,000 in potential returns. So while we did have sales tax revenues of $1.2 million that came into our city, I think in the manner that we have and continue to approach with fiscal prudence in our city, we need to keep in mind the other side of this barbell, if you will, and understand that relative to these pooled dollars, we have very little control over our asset mix, and we need to maintain flexibility. That potential shortfall leading into the future we need to be mindful of as a community. That's it. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Elaine Genoway.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of years ago, the IB&A committee recommended a change in the allowable allocation percentages and dollar amounts for our investment bands. And what I'd like to ask Finance Director Hendrickson if he could direct or ask the IB&A committee to review our investment policy and review the underlying investments in OSIP to see if a higher allowable allocation percentage or dollar amount is warranted. Currently, the OSIP yield is approximately 55 to 60% higher than the LAIF yield, and at least we should have some more flexibility to move between LAIF and OSIP, and not have our own policy be a barrier to that. So if you could have them review that and see if that is still within our conservative investment parameters, but maybe we want to adjust that allowable allocation.
Of course, yes. I plan to bring that forth every September. We normally bring forth the IB&A, the draft policy, and then subsequently bring it to council in October for approval. Based on your direction, I can definitely bring it to the IB&A for their take on whether we want to invest more in LAIF or OSIP. I can tell you from history's standpoint, these two kind of seesaw back and forth. They're both pooled investments. One's at the state level, one's at the county level, and they're mainly invested in government bonds and some other things that make them super conservative. Even during the worst of years, they never lost money. So it's always a positive gain, but of course that means there's not a terrible amount of reward either, because they're very adverse to risk. But yes, in the most recent months, you're right, OSIP has trended a little bit higher than LAIF. At 16.44% of our pool, we are nearing the top. We can only invest up to 20%, and that's just about $1 million more. As for our LAIF account, we can invest up to 55% or 40 million max. So I would preferentially have the IB&A lift both of these limits while still keeping the flexibility and the wherewithal with council to see these numbers every month.
And that's the intention of my request, to provide some flexibility so that we are not constrained by the 20% or $15 million limitation if it's warranted.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Director Hendrickson.
So do I have a motion to approve item number 4, which is investment report on March 31st, 2021?
So moved.
Second.
It was moved by Mayor Pro Tem Genoway and was seconded by Councilmember Sharma. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It passes unanimously. Now we get to the last item, item number 6. Councilmember Kelly Jennings, the floor is yours.
I just want to say that I'm happy to see this on the agenda. It is something that we've needed to do for a long time. So I'm happy to see it, and just this part of our strategic plan. So moving forward with that. So I really appreciate you guys moving forward with this. And I know this process will take some time, but we want it done right and we want it done well. So thank you very much for fast forwarding this.
Councilmember Sandy Rains.
Thank you for pulling this item, Councilmember Jennings. I had some questions that I wanted clarification on. We have been asking for a parks assessment, and this is really crucial for our planning moving forward and the needs of what our community is looking at. So I noticed that the same company is doing this assessment that did our Pooch Park assessment. And when it came back, it was an extravagant plan on some Pooch Park that we would probably never have. So I wanted to make sure there was a few items in here that were removed, and I wanted to clarify those items that were removed that we didn't see in the actual agenda. But I wanted to thank and also ask Public Works Director Jackie Scott to just comment a little bit on the removal of the one item where it removed the amount of conceptual designs, because I think this will prevent this type of thing from happening again. So if you could just explain a little bit about that process, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, Councilmember Rains. This project has been long in the making and coming to you this evening. We did contract with RJM in 2019 to produce some concept plans for the Pooch Park. The Pooch Park plans that they provided were a little more than what the city was at the time thinking that they were willing to spend on the renovations. We have made a number of needed improvements at Pooch Park, but not spending the kind of dollars that were included in those concept plans. So we did have that conversation with RJM when we negotiated this contract. And this is a different project management team than worked on Pooch Park, and they do understand the concerns of the city and are committed, along with city staff, to making sure that the recommendations are within the reach of the city council and in line with what the community has requested. So we did go through and negotiate with RJM, and the scope, as you mentioned, this memo outlines a number of the reductions that we had asked from RJM to keep that in line. Initially, they were thinking about 15 conceptual plans around the city parks. We have 34 parks in our city. We've now reduced that down to 5 conceptual plans that the council will be able to consider at the end when the final report is ready.
Thank you. And then the other concern that I had on this was when we're doing our strategic plan, one of the things that we did was we didn't just do an online, we also did a mail. And in this, it's saying that we're going to do a multimodal phasing of different types of outreach. And there's 3 public workshops, and there's also online, and there's 1 mail item. And I had asked this question. I know mail does cost more, but I wanted to, because of the response that we had on the strategic plan, it was overwhelmingly more mail came in than online. I just wanted to hear what my colleagues might think about maybe tweaking that request. And I believe we can change it along the way as well if we're not getting good response in public and online. Is that accurate?
Councilmember Rains, this type of survey is a different type of survey than what we did with the strategic plan. This particular survey is targeted to produce a statistically valid result that the city can use and to represent many user groups, whereas I think the survey from the strategic plan was more broad-based across the city. Director Rivera was part of the process that we negotiated the contract. So I don't know if you have anything more you could add to that, Ron, about how we'll be reaching out to the community during this process.
Definitely. Thank you so much for asking that question. We hold in the highest value to make sure we reach as many possible residents as possible who meet the demographics in our community. So outside of the mailing, we'll have pop-up events where people can come up, fill out an iPad request survey. We'll have various events at Sea Country to reach the senior community, outreach with Agewell as well too, kind of like community center, all of our sports teams. So it'll be a very robust strategic opportunity to get the outreach from everyone who's involved in our community, along with the interviews, identifying those key stakeholders.
I appreciate that, because that is probably the most important thing about this whole assessment, is making sure that all of our residents feel like they've had an opportunity to participate. So thank you for those clarifications. Thank you.
Any other comments? Mayor Genoway?
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem, you got promoted.
Oh, gee, promoted for 1 second. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Well, I agree with Councilmember Rains in that the response that we had for the strategic plan was incredible. And I think that was of high value to the city. I'd also like to share, though, my experience from years back when I was a park commissioner. And park surveys are much more experiential, where people will come out for them. And I remember when we did when we had the designs or several different concepts up for the new Crown Valley Community Center, and people were out there and posting sticky notes and really involved in it. I've also been to parks where we've had the get big butcher paper for the kids, and they draw what they want to see in their park. So I would just add that I would not want to see our in-person queries of our community cut down, because that is, for parks, it's different. And it's very important that people come out and experience it and provide that feedback. And sometimes the synergy develops between the people that are there. And so I think that's where we may get an optimal response. So while I value the surveys, I wouldn't want to see us to cut down on any of the in-person input. Thank you.
I hear no other comments, amplifications, or clarifications then.
I'll move the item.
I'll second it.
It was moved by Councilmember Kelly Jennings, and it was seconded by Councilmember Sandy Rains. Now we move on
Aye.
to.
Were you going to ask for a vote, Mayor?
Yeah.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It passes unanimously, as I was expecting. Now, we are moving on to the first public hearing, item number 1, to consider the draft Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, Annual Action Plan for fiscal year 2021, 2022. I recognize that this is the first reading of that. So with that, Madam City Clerk, do we have any comments on this item?
No, Mayor, no public comments.
Very good. The public comments section is closed. Now we move on to my city council colleagues for any comments on this. Or our community development director or Mr. List would like to make a presentation, and then we can entertain questions.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council members. The annual action plan outlines the city's use of CDBG funds for the upcoming program year. Up to 15% may be allocated to public service programs, and up to 20% may be allocated to administration. However, the city has been efficient with the use of administration funds and typically only allocates 10%. The remainder of the grant may be allocated to capital improvement projects. The city received 6 applications from public service providers and 1 for fair housing services. All the applicants have previously received CDBG funds from the city. On March 9th, the members of the Grants Ad Hoc Committee, Mayor Fred Miniger and Council Member Kelly Jennings, held a public meeting to consider the applications and make funding recommendations to the City Council. The tables on the staff report on pages 4 through 6 reflect the final funding recommendations for City Council consideration, excuse me. I also have them on the slides. I'm not sure if you can see them from your location. Let's see. Okay. So the first slide is the public service program recommendations. So of the 6 applicants, 5 are recommended for funding. And please note that Mercy House will be considered for an alternative grant funding. Staff reached out to Mercy House and they're in favor of this recommendation. The remaining funds for administration will be allocated to consultant services and the Fair Housing Council of Orange County. And then the capital improvement projects that are recommended for funding are the accessible pedestrian signal installation project, the Sea Country Senior and Community Center ADA improvements, and the Sea Country Senior Center flooring. This concludes my presentation at this time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Councilmember Sharma?
I don't know necessarily that I have any questions for you, but I would like to make a couple comments. After having read through this, I was quite impressed with the understanding that a lot of times when we think about homeless, we think of it universally. And it's very clear to me that a lot of thought goes into this presentation and the allocation of dollars to meet not just homelessness universally, but more specifically the types of homeless or sleeves of homelessness, if you will. Specifically, I noticed that, there's assistance for veterans in here. There's assistance for elderly, which may or may not be one and the same. There's assistance for families with children. There's assistance for children. There's assistance for people coming out of assistance facility to transition through. So, this is really from what I've learned of our city and our historical approach to helping and treating homelessness from a very proactive standpoint, this is in keeping with that approach that we've had historically. So I want to thank the city and the teams that were involved in this for doing that. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Genoway.
I think, well, I know I echo with what Councilman Sharma has said, and many of these are organizations that we have partnered with year over year over year because they do serve our residents so well. And I'd also like to point out that Mercy House, there's another area of funding that is available for them. But a lot of what we do in Laguna Niguel regarding homeless is the homeless prevention. And not only is it through the CDBG grants, but it is all year long. There are different partnerships that we create and different outreach programs that they have that they participate in, because it is so important to keep our families in their homes and to prevent them from becoming homeless. And when you look at the YMCA of Orange County Child Care Scholarships, that is also helping people, that is helping preventing homelessness, because that is making it possible for parents to go to work knowing that their children are being taken care of after school. So there's a lot that we do in the homeless arena that comes under homelessness prevention, so that our families do not become homeless. So I thank Mayor Minigar and Councilmember Jennings I've been on this committee before, and I know the choices can be tough, but I think this is a very well-rounded and appreciated allocation. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Sandy Rains.
Thank you. I was pleased to see that the staff was able to find other funding sources for Mercy House so that the YMCA could actually get $15,000 through the CBDG fund. I can't imagine a time more than ever where parents might be needing that extra resource for childcare after this year that we've just been through. And a lot of these services that provide meal delivery and also food for a lot of our residents may not be homeless, but they're very food insecure. And especially coming off of this year of pandemic, it's really been critical for us to make sure that we're caring for and making sure that the funding goes to the agencies who are providing these types of services. We had a FAM food drive here early on last year, and FAM has continued to provide that service to our residents. So I appreciate the fact that we are eligible to receive these funds, and that our council continues to make good decisions about getting these funds to the right agencies. So thank you.
Councilmember Kelly Jennings.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It is an honor to be part of this committee. I know these organizations very well, and I really appreciate all that they do. And with Age Well, they provided more meals than they planned to with the pandemic hitting. And I know that the numbers are going to continue to grow because all that catch up for people's rents. So with South County Outreach and FAM helping with people catching up with their rent. So the need is great. It's going to be greater as we come upon the next year or so. So having the ability to be able to give funds to these incredible organizations, so happy to be able to do that. And like Councilmember Sharma said, that this is full circle. This is caring for everything with healthcare services and meals and housing. So it really is an honor, and thank you for providing these, getting out to the organizations to have them provide the applications to submit to us. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you very much. It was a pleasure for me to get your special contributions and your inputs during the ad hoc committee meetings, and the staff, Director of Community Development, and all the staff members to provide us the best inputs. And this is one of those things that we are very proud of in our beautiful city. With that, can I entertain a motion to approve as stated?
I'll make a motion.
Any second?
I'll second it.
Okay, it was moved by Councilmember Kelly Jennings and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Elaine Genoway. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It passes unanimously. Thank you. That concludes our public hearing items. So we will now move on to council reports and then followed by city manager report. I always refrain myself from providing reports because I go to so many different meetings. During the last cycle, I attended 15 meetings, but I only picked 9 meetings just to talk about what I did, not to go over those specific items. On Wednesday, April 21st, I attended the ACCOC's new Board of Directors installation in the great city of Tustin. On Thursday, April 22nd, I attended the regular monthly meeting of Orange County Council of Governments, talking about a lot of different things to all the 6 South Orange County cities that I represent. We are still fighting on a couple of different fronts. As soon as we get to some solid confirmation with regard to our position, I'll be more than happy to share that with my city council colleagues. The most important one was that on Monday and Tuesday, April 26th and 27th of last month, along with the Director of Community Development, separately, we visited all the businesses in 2 major shopping centers in our beautiful city. Ocean Ranch Shopping Center was one, and the second one was Town Center. We knocked at every business door, regardless of the type of land use, regardless of the entity, regardless of the size, because we wanted to gauge, and I personally wanted to see that how they are doing during COVID-19 and how our great city that we always brag about and we are extremely proud of could help them potentially in the areas of identification of funding, or with regard to permitting, or with regard to open spaces, how they can put restaurant owners chairs outside, and how we can cut the red tape that typically governmental agencies are known for, that we don't practice, we don't subscribe to that in this city. At the end, after 2 days that I did it separately, I'm pretty sure that my colleague, Mayor Pro Tem Elaine Genoway, would be talking about her experience during the same days, except we wanted to make sure that we go to 2 separate shopping centers, that we don't have any overlapping in that pursuit. At the end, I, for one, as an elected official, I'm extremely pleased and proud that an overwhelming majority of the business owners indicated to me that they are doing good, even though at the beginning of COVID-19 pandemic, they were suffering, but only there were 2 businesses that Jonathan and I took notes, and we passed out our cards, and we invited them to stay in touch with us, to see how we can help them to transition through this critical period, because the safety, the security, our business is job number one. Their success is our success as a city. We cannot be proud of our city when small business owners are suffering. So with that said, there were only 2 business entities that we are going to be helping them as much as we can. But all other ones gave me a very positive outlook with regard to their presence in this city. So not only from a commercial business real estate perspective, but also from a health of the city, I'm very happy that, unlike other cities in Orange County and LA County and San Bernardino and other counties, that our city is doing great. So again, their success is our success, and ultimately, the positive reflection is going to be on the economic, temperature of the city and on the values of the city. On Wednesday, April 28th, I attended the TCA Joint Finance and Investment Committee meetings. All the indices are up for the San Joaquin Hills, for Foothill, for Eastern. This is a great sign that people are moving back to the norm. Obviously, because of COVID-19, a lot of white-collar sector groups are doing Zooming, so they are not basically traveling. But besides that, from a revenue perspective, the Transportation Corridor Agency, both sister agencies, are doing fine. On the same day, I attended the Irish Fiesta of Senator Pat Bass along with Mayor Pro Tem Elaine Genoway. That was the fun part of it. Then during the same night, I attended the city's Traffic and Transportation Commission at the City Hall on April 20th, along with the entire City Council colleagues. We interviewed the vacant positions with regard to the Planning Commission, Senior Citizens Committee, as well as Parks and Rec committee, and I'm very pleased with the final outcome of the selected individuals. And those individuals that have not been selected, if they're watching, I truly encourage them to participate again in the next cycle, the beginning of next year, that they can participate. We always have numerous vacancies that they can participate, and they can join us to serve the public, to make this city a greater city. During the same night, I attended the Orange County Mayor's weekly meetings that is typically 1 hour on Friday, April 30th, along with Assemblywoman Lori Davies and the Director of Community Development. I attended a Zoom workshop with the Building Industry Association of Southern California, basically talking about the status of the developments in our city, where we stand, and what are the potential impact of COVID-19 in reference to the land use, in reference to the land development. And Lori Davies talked about, the emphasis by her constituents that our city would be one of them with regard to local control on the upcoming Assembly and Senate bills, and how they are going to be impacting us in any shape or form. And then I do have two quick announcements. The first one is that tomorrow night we are going to have the SB 9 community education. It's going to be a webinar that is going to be hosted by the city of Laguna Niguel. And I wanted to make sure that those residents that are interested want to hear more about the Senate Bill 9, I beg your pardon, and the impact of it on single family residential units specifically, and the city as a whole, then that would be an excellent forum to understand what would be the potential negative ramification of SB 9. May be good for the city of San Francisco, may be good for the city of Sacramento, San Diego, LA, but it's not going to be good for our city, the way that they are going to be moving with the elements of that Senate bill. And last but not least, I just wanted to invite those residents to submit their photos for the first photo contest ever in the city. They can look it up on the city's website. With that, I conclude my, I don't know, long or short comments. So I start with Councilmember Sharma on my far left.
I think we're calling the meeting to close at 9:30 p.m. now. Thank you. This has been an enjoyable couple weeks here. I stopped by the community center over the course of the weekend and had a chance to visit with our Parks and Recreation Director, Ron Rivera. We had several families touring the facilities, and it was great to see our community back playing the way that we used to play as a community. Soccer fields were lively, pool was busy, trails were filled, and it's nice to see that. I also took an opportunity on the evening of the 24th, Saturday, from 6 p.m. to midnight. I rode along with our set unit in Laguna Niguel. It's a specialized unit for the deputy sheriffs, and I want to thank Chief Asuncion and Sergeant Nguyen for setting that up and making me feel welcome. Also, a special thank you to Deputies DeLeo and McAuliffe. They shared their vehicle with me and gave me a really solid education as to what's happening behind the scenes on a Saturday night, while I'm usually at home with kids, right? Everybody else seems to be living their life a little bit differently. But I will also point out that there were two very clear incidences within the first couple hours that we were out that evening, and I'm quite confident that lives were saved. I want to dedicate a special thank you to those deputies, DeLeo and McAuliffe, for the work that they've done in our city. The patience and empathy that they show to our residents in sometimes otherwise very challenging situations is beyond just simple recognition. It's to be accoladed. In addition to that, that evening, Deputy DeLeo from Laguna Hills Police Services was injured, and I want to wish him well recovery. And again, it was a very enjoyable evening. And then to conclude, we had an opportunity to interview new committee appointments in our city, and I'm glad to see the new people that are going to be joining our committees, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I won't go over 9 meetings. I'll just do maybe 6 or 7. So anyways, just on April 22nd, I attended the executive board meeting for the Orange County Library Advisory Board, and we received a report from management partners. The library board last year had asked the Board of Supervisors to have another report or study done. And this is to work on the allocation formula for the libraries to determine how much in resources and staffing that are provided. And this is done about every 10 years. So we received that, and then we will be forwarding that on to the full lab. I also attended the ACCOC Legislative and Regulatory Committee meeting, where we discussed the different Senate bills and Assembly bills and take positions on them and communicate with our legislators. Along with Community Development Director Jonathan Orduña on April 26th and 27th, Mayor Minigar went in the morning and I did the afternoon shift and covered 2 other of our shopping centers. And I'll tell you, it was wonderful visiting our business owners. They were so happy to see us. We discussed the challenges they're facing and how the city may assist. And they were all very complimentary of the city and how the city has been very responsive to any needs they may have, any questions, and how we've been proactive in assisting our business community. So they do appreciate the support and resources that are provided. We did encourage them, though, to reach out to us at any time and also with any ideas or suggestions. But we did engage and have some very good conversations with them. One of the challenges, though, that a number of them, especially the restaurant owners, are facing, and it's not a challenge presented by the city, it's a challenge presented by the federal government. And some of the business owners are having trouble getting their employees to come back to work because they're receiving the checks from the federal government. So they don't want to come back, or they only want to be paid in cash. And a business owner can't do that. So that's an unintended, but maybe not unexpected consequence of some actions of the federal government. So, so when you go to your favorite restaurant or business, and if the service may be a little slower or they seem a little short-staffed, please have empathy for them and understand that they would love to hire more people, but it's a challenge right now. On the 29th, the City Council had the commission and committee interviews, and I'd just like to thank all of those people who applied and who interviewed for those spots. They offered their time and talent to serve the residents of Laguna Niguel. And as I always say, it's the residents of our city that make Laguna Niguel remarkable. We really are a special place. Today I was in Sacramento, virtually that is. It was the annual convention for the California Senior Legislature. Usually there's a big tent on the front lawn of the Capitol where all the legislators come out and talk to us. But this year is done virtually. Very good information. And also it's done in May in recognition of Older Americans Month. And I just want to point out to all our residents, when we talk about older Americans, those are not other people. They are all of us. And they are who we aspire to be, because we aspire to be 65 and older, because if we don't get there, there's only one alternative. So I think everyone in this room and everyone at home can raise their hand. Yes, they want to be 65 plus someday. So also, as the mayor mentioned, tomorrow we are having a webinar, an educational session for our community on Senate Bill 9. This will dramatically change the fabric of our single-family neighborhoods, and it is important that all of our residents are aware of this and know what action they can take. So it's at 5 p.m., but if you can't make it, it will be recorded, and the city will have a webpage up with the SB 9 resources and actions that you can take. So, but please, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Community Development Director Jonathan Orduña kind of heads up that effort from the city for the staff part. And then if you have any questions for me, please feel free to reach out to me. But it's important that you're there and then you share the information that you learn. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Sandy Rains.
Thank you, Mayor Miniger. One of the things that I do and to represent our city as I sit on the Transportation, Communication, and Public Works for the League of California Cities. And I know that there's been a lot of concern about some cell service towers that are supposedly going up in our city. But I just want to say that part of our strategic plan, one of the goals is for infrastructure and technology, and Sacramento is not sitting back and doing nothing. They are doing things, and there is bills that are being looked at, AB 1060 and SB 341. They're both broadband and telecommunications service bills that are expanding broadband and technology. So it's important that we're aware of these things and that we work together as a city collectively to make sure that we're ahead of Sacramento's ordinances and mandates, and we're working together. So I just wanted to give a little shout out to that, because the League of California Cities is supporting these bills, and they probably will pass in this upcoming year in sessions. I appreciate the community and the constituents of Laguna Niguel and how actively involved they are in their community. Had quite a busy week last week, lots of phone calls from my constituents, and I'm very happy to report that our staff did an excellent job taking care of the concerns that they had. We had an issue with one of our parks and noise, and our staff was right on top of it. So thank you very much to our Parks and Rec and to our city manager. One of the other items was a business owner with some permitting things. So our community development department really took the reins, and within 48 hours, she had everything she needed. So I was really happy to see our city working well together to answer the needs of the community. I'm excited to announce that this has been something in the works, and now that our community center is going to be opening soon, our Parks and Rec Director, Ron Rivera, is working real hard with our Historical Society members to provide a beautiful area in the community center where they'll be able to display the historical relics of our city and to continue to show the history and past of our city. So hopefully that'll be done real soon, and you'll let us know so that people will know that it's there. And I know that a few months ago I'd asked about having our emergency evacuation plan on our city's website. And I'm happy to report that our city's the first to have it complete, and it should be up on our website very shortly,
Before summer.
before summer. So I'm very happy to report that. I got to do the most exciting thing of my life so far. I always say so far because, I want more things exciting. But last weekend, I had the distinct privilege and honor of attending my daughter's graduation from Naval Nuclear Power School. And it was an incredible weekend. And she and her colleagues that graduated are some incredible young leaders. So we're in good hands. Thank you.
Congratulations on behalf of the city. Councilmember Kelly Jennings.
Thank you. I'll be quick. And congratulations to your daughter. That's wonderful. Just a few things. I just want to thank everyone for applying, for the people that applied for the committee and commission openings that we had. We're so grateful for your willingness to serve our community. And there's more to come. There's more places to volunteer. So we appreciate that. And congratulations to our committee and commission appointees. Looking forward to working with you all, and happy that our businesses are busy and up and running. And I was able to take my dog to the vet, and I was able to go inside with him. So it's wonderful that things are slowly coming back to normal, whatever normal looks like. And the community center, thank you for having all those openings and people able to tour. I received so many compliments, and everyone's so excited for it, and they can't believe how beautiful it is. So we're excited to show it off. So thank you for your time and effort in that.
Thank you very much. City Manager Tammy Laterna.
Thank you so much. I do have a few reports this evening. I'm very happy to share with you that our first concert is going to be Friday, August 13th. So reservations are going to be required. Stay tuned for more information and for information about the band. We're not ready to announce that yet, but mark your calendars for Friday, August 13th.
How about hard rock?
Ron, you're taking notes, right?
Rolling Stones. Mick Jagger.
Country music.
Oh boy. I think we're going to have to agenda. They're going to have a Brown Act violation.
I can't
here.
get any satisfaction.
We have a request from the mayor. So noted. We're kicking off summer with a fun drive-through celebration on Saturday, June 12th. at the Sea Country Senior and Community Center from 11 to 2. You'll have the opportunity to take a musical trip down under the sea and wave to your favorite summer characters and have some ice cream as well. And no reservations will be needed. We'll have more information on our website soon about that also. And due to COVID, the Orange County Parks and Recreation Department is not issuing permits for our regional parks. So we will not be able to have our fireworks this year, but don't dismay. We are going to celebrate in grand fashion and style and with a week-long celebration here in Laguna Niguel, which will include family photos, home decorating contests, pet photo contests, a bike decorating contest, a virtual run, a drive-through celebration here at City Hall, a flyover, and a digital fireworks celebration. So it's going to be fantastic. So watch our website for more information. And my last update tonight is that this week is National Public Service Recognition Week, where we honor those employees who have dedicated their careers to public service. And so I just want to take this opportunity to thank our fantastic city team, who I love very much and are doing a fantastic job, especially in this last year and all the things that we've been through together, and to thank them publicly for their service and their very, very hard work and their excellent customer service to this community. So thank you. Yay to everybody.
Thank you very much. With that, the meeting is adjourned at 7:51.